It may still feel like the start of a new calendar year, but the financial year is already half over, and before you know it, tax time will roll around again. This financial year, the ATO has introduced a raft of superannuation changes. For more, let's bring in finance expert Olivia Maragna from Aspire Retire. Good morning, Olivia.
Good morning, Louise.
Now, talk us through these changes.
Well, look, there's always winners and losers. So if we start off with the winners, generally low-income earners are big winners out of these changes, but also stay-at-home parents are going to get some new incentives in terms of some of these changes. The losers are generally the high-income earners, so they're going to be subject to a lot more tax, but also big balances in superannuation. So if you've got a large superannuation balance, a lot more rules and a lot more compliance to deal with in terms of making sure that you're not exceeding amounts that the government actually wants you to have in super tax-free.
Okay, so can anyone claim a tax deduction for putting money into super?
Well, this is a great thing about these changes. So previously, the power was more with employers if you wanted to put extra money into superannuation. These changes have now put the power back in the hands of employees. So instead of having to rely on your employer to be able to allow you to put extra money into super and put salary sacrifice contributions into superannuation, the government is now allowing employees to be able to get to the end of the financial year and actually put extra contributions into super and claim personal tax deductions. So check your eligibility, check that Australian taxation website to make sure that you are eligible for it. But a great incentive for employees and now a lot more power to be able to minimise your tax but also boost your retirement nest egg.
Absolutely. What about low-income earners? You mentioned them earlier. Are there incentives in this new system when it comes to superannuation?
Yeah, so for most people who are earning less than around about $40,000, so you might be working part-time or a non-working spouse, your spouse can now add extra money into your own superannuation and get extra incentives from the government. So you'll end up getting a tax rebate effectively from those. So a great little incentive that if you're not working too much and your super balance is lagging behind a little bit to top it up a little bit and get those extra tax benefits.
That sounds like a smart change, actually. What about people who have their self-managed super funds? What's changed for them?
Well, I think the big thing with self-managed super funds is if you're managing it yourself, these changes are bringing in a lot of extra compliance in terms of particularly big balances and how much you can get into super. So if you've got your own self-managed super fund, make sure you're talking to your financial advisor about these changes. But more importantly, if you've got nice big balances in your superannuation above the $1.4 million, there's going to be a lot more reporting in terms of your funds. So don't do it yourself. Make sure you're obviously seeking advice in terms of these changes.
Yeah, very good advice. It's a lot to take in, but it sounds like it could be very beneficial for a lot of people. Olivia, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.